If you think the AI disruption is in the future, you're very much wrong. Both in the disembodied space and in the embodied space in the form of robots, it's basically here. Let's take a look. Hey y'all, it's Dr. Know-It-All coming to you from Whistler, British Columbia, where I am doing a ski vacation. And if you hear noise behind me, there are trucks that are cleaning the roads and things like that down below me, and the mountains up in the top are beautiful. It is a whopping 6:57 a.m. right now, so I'm doing a video quick before I hit the slopes for the day. It looks like a bluebird day. It looks like the conditions, they were terrible here all winter, but they're really great now. I'll throw a couple of pictures up for you while I'm talking. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is AI a deflationary force? It's a post by Cern Basher. He's working off a press release from the end of February, plus ARK Invest's take on that. And then I want to talk about embodied robots as well. So we'll start with Cern Basher's post here. Is AI a deflationary force? So here you can see there's a post here from New York, February 27th. Klarna today announced its AI assistant powered by OpenAI, now live globally for 1 month. The numbers speak for themselves. And then there are a bunch of numbers here. 2.3 million conversations, 2/3 of Klarna's customer service chats. It's doing the equivalent work of 700 full-time agents. It's on par with human agents in regard to customer satisfaction score. It is more accurate in errand resolution, leading to a 25% drop in repeat inquiries. Customers now resolve their errands in less than 2 minutes compared to 11 minutes previously. That is a big statistic right there. It's available in 23 markets 24/7 and communicates in more than 35 languages. And it's estimated to drive $40 million in U.S. profit improvements to Klarna in 2024. Then Cern goes on to say, a data point from ARK Invest. Last week, Klarna disclosed that during their first month of operation, its OpenAI-powered customer service agents handled work equivalent to that of 700 full-time human agents, or 2/3 of all customer support chats, resolving tasks in fewer than 2 minutes instead of the 11 minutes necessary for human agents. The AI agents achieved customer satisfaction scores on par with those of human agents. According to our estimates, Klarna's 700 human agents supported 2.3 million conversations at a cost of $3.6 million per month, or $1.58 per conversation. Addressing the same number at 2 minutes per chat, an OpenAI-powered agent would cost no more than $9,000 per month, or $0.004 or zero point 0.4 cents per conversation, based on the current pricing structure of GPT-4. In other words, by switching from human agents to AI agents, Klarna could save nearly 100% in labor costs. Yeah, that's an incredible number. While Klarna and other consumer-facing companies probably will retain human-in-the-loop systems to resolve customer support cases that AI cannot, AI-related efficiency gains are likely to reduce the number of humans in customer support positions significantly. In fact, we believe that all language-centric knowledge work associated with enterprise sales, technical support, and customer service will face significant disruption. So what does this mean? This means that humans are going to be too expensive in the near term, like today, to be in these positions in totality anymore. In other words, humans will be necessary, but very, very few humans will be necessary. These GPT agents obviously work in such a way that they can handle these kind of more rote jobs much more efficiently than humans can. If you go from $1.58 per conversation down to 0.4 cents per conversation, there's just no argument to be made economically for a business owner to retain human beings in the numbers that they have at this point, and we're going to be looking at mass layoffs very, very rapidly. Now, this was a 1-month test by Klarna, obviously, so it's not a complete test, but this is exactly the kind of disruption that is going to completely alter the face of labor. These are jobs that a lot of people work on. We're talking about 700 human agents doing this job just for this one company, and we're looking at the potential to need maybe, 70 or maybe even only 7 or something like that human agents. So we're looking at orders of magnitude reduction in the amount of human labor necessary to do these basic jobs. And while we're on the topic of disruption, let's look at Optimus and Figure and Agility and Sanctuary and Apptronik, etc., etc. Let's look at human bot labor as well. So we've got disembodied AI, which is ChatGPT type things, and obviously you can save a ridiculous amount of money doing that. Can you save the same kind of money on humanoid type bots? I would argue that no, you can't save, orders of magnitude more, go down to 0.4 cents or something like that per conversation, but you can make at least an order of magnitude reduction in the cost of labor by using humanoid bots. Now, this is not going to happen as quickly because, of course, we've got to get these humanoid bots built and they've got to be distributed. So as opposed to software, which can be distributed very, very rapidly and can be done today, you're going to be looking at a couple of years before we get to humanoid bots being in the workforce in the kind of numbers necessary to start disrupting manual labor in the same way that language-based labor is being disrupted today, but it's going to happen. And the reason why is simple efficiency gains. These things will work for a fraction of the cost of a human. So even if you're having to pay $100,000 a year for a humanoid bot or something, that humanoid bot can do at least 2 humans worth of jobs. In other words, 2 shifts worth. So instead of 8 hours, you can do 16 hours worth of work and potentially more. And it never needs a break, and it never needs lunch, and it never needs commute time, and it never calls in sick, and you don't have all of these problems with these embodied AI agents. And while yes, obviously you need charging time and you're going to need some sort of maintenance schedule to maintain these robots and keep them operating at full efficiency, that can be built in. If they are only working 16 hours a day, you've got another 8 hours a day that they could be being maintained and charged. And I would submit that you don't even need that much time. You can probably get away with like 3 or 4 hours a day for that kind of maintenance and charging schedule. So basically, even if these things cost the same amount as one human laborer each, and I think over time they will cost significantly less than that, but even if they cost the same amount as one human laborer, they're going to be able to do the work of at least 2 laborers, and probably more than that, because again, if you have an 8-hour shift, you're only getting about 7 hours of actual work out of the person because you're getting a half hour for lunch plus 2 15-minute breaks. So that's an hour off during the shift that these people are not actually working. So when you're saying somebody's working an 8-hour shift, what they're actually working is a 7-hour shift. And if these robots can be built to have 8 hours worth of battery capacity, then they can work an entire shift without needing any downtime. Or if they need the same amount of downtime, say 2 15-minute breaks as a human, they can do that, but they still don't need the lunch break. And of course, they won't call in sick, they won't have bad days, they won't work inefficiently some days, etc., etc. So what's going on today is we're seeing massive disruption in language-based labor. In other words, things that ChatGPT can come in and take the place of. And something people haven't talked about yet, but I'm sure is being used as well, but like robocalls and those kinds of things from, the people that you don't really want to talk to anyway, but these ChatGPT agents can actually do that because you can have an embodied voice. So between having a large language model's skills and having very, very realistic human voices now, you can have an entire conversation with a disembodied AI agent now without even realizing that you've had that kind of a conversation. And that's really amazing because that means these things are passing the Turing test, because the original Turing test that Alan Turing set out was, can you have a conversation with an AI agent and not realize that you had a conversation with that entity and think that it was a human instead? And what we're seeing is millions of these conversations a month going on where people are perfectly satisfied with what they think is a human agent handling their problem without realizing that it's actually a bot. Now, is that going to happen with embodied AI? Probably not, because we're going to realize it looks like a human being. But the effective Turing test will be, can you tell that an object, a widget, something like this TV remote or something like that, was built by robots as opposed to humans? You're probably not going to be able to, and that in some ways is an equivalent Turing test that we're having with GPT agents right now. So while it's going to take a few more years for embodied AI to end up disrupting the labor workforce, it's going to happen in the same way that language-based AI is disrupting the workforce today. And of course, there's a couple of ways of looking at this. Number one, from a business owner standpoint, you're going to be like, awesome, I can make a lot more money and make a lot more profits and sell things for potentially cheaper than my competition by using this type of AI. But from a laborer's point of view, this is an absolutely terrible thing because it just means that people are going to be laid off in droves. And I expect that that is already happening in the language-based support type of job today. And in the future, we're going to see it happen even more. And of course, famously, the tech sector as well is having massive layoffs at this point. It's a very, very different world than it was even 1 year ago in the tech sector. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're looking at these AI agents coming in and taking over and allowing humans, single individuals, to be much more efficient than they used to be. And we're going to see the same thing happen with embodied AI in the form of bots happen within the next couple of years. Not immediately, because again, it takes a lot longer to build physical objects and ship them, but it's going to happen. And by 2029, we're going to be looking at the exact same sort of situation as software today. So the future of labor, whether it's creative or language-based or physical labor, is probably going to shift to few individuals in charge of fleets of AI. So that could be 1 or 10 humans in charge of a lot of AI that's doing the work that used to be done by humans. So humans are going to move more into the management sort of role to be able to take that and to be able to do jobs that are too difficult for the AI to handle. And that gap is going to narrow and narrow and narrow because the AI is only going to get better at handling all of these gaps. So you're going to need fewer and fewer humans in charge of more and more AI, which is a pretty scary thing to think about from a laborer's point of view. It means that we are not going to be necessary in a lot of senses very, very soon. And this is something that governments really need to pay attention to right now, because this is a thing that is going to disrupt the GDP very, very rapidly, and it's going to cause a lot of civil unrest. And therefore, I think that governments really need to be paying attention to this. Will they be able to handle this? No, they can't even do something as stupid as change daylight savings time. They're completely ineffective, at least in my experience. So that leaves us in a very bad way. From a business owner's point of view, you have to move to AI because everybody else is doing that, and you'll go out of business if you don't do that. From an individual worker's point of view, this is about as disastrous as things could get. So that's what we're looking at right now. We're looking at massive deflationary forces coming about because of AI, both disembodied and embodied, and things are only going to get wilder in the next couple of years. All right, so that's what I got. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please do like and subscribe if you're able to, and I will see you in the next one.